Well, hello and welcome, people of the internet, to Letifer, a bullet heaven roguelite where we play as the half-human, half-demon Letifer and join her on her vengeance mission as she takes out some demons from her very dark past. This one is sweet. I picked up this demo as part of the Raid Survivals Festival. I'm not sure how long the demo is going to be available or if it's been available for a while. This is kind of the first time I've seen the game on Steam, so I'm kind of not sure if the demo is just available as part of the festival, but I will, of course, link to the Steam page down below if you want to check out the game for yourself. But stick around and have some fun. Let's go ahead and jump into the game. Now, we're going to start in our hub world here. Excuse me. We're going to take a look at this after we start our first run. Now, to select our run, there's a couple things we need to pick. First, we need to pick our biome. And there is difficulty here. There is another difficulty once we jump into the biome. I think that this difficulty is implying overall difficulty of what's inside the biome, because if we go up here, you can see that this goes up, but this is the only biome that we have available to us. And you can see here, there's a second tier of difficulty. So the way that this works is we have duration and beacons, and these are kind of synonymous with each other. Short is just implying how many beacons there are. So with these 4 beacons, we're going to have to light all the beacons, just like the beacons of Gondor are lit. So basically, we're going to survive a couple different waves. Once we survive those waves, we'll be able to activate one of the beacons. Once the beacon is lit, then we'll have to survive in that area for a short amount of time to activate it, rinse and repeat until all 4 are lit, and then we can fight the final boss of the area. Pretty straightforward objectives, but let's get into it. So here we have Letifer. We have her attack. I think, let me just double check that I have these settings here. Okay, so I am on auto aim and auto fire. You can turn that off if you want, but I want to have it on. I just want to double check because she was aiming where I was aiming. We do have a little drone buddy who flies around with you, who you can also upgrade. So I currently have a few metapression upgrades on him. So there are a few features that if you jump in for the first time, you will not notice, and I'll point those out as they pop up. We have a couple different drops here. So the red drops that are spawning, those are experience drops. And then we also have the purple, which is our metapression for Letifer herself. There are also going to be blue crystals that do rarely drop, but those are for upgrading the drone. Now, once we actually do level up, we're going to get this UI where we have a couple different upgrades. So we have the orange upgrades, which are for Letifer's gun. We have the blue upgrades, which are for our drone, and purple, which is more kind of like status effect. So here we have vampirism, which is really kind of the only way to heal I found in the game. When you first start, there is almost no healing, so keep that in mind, but you can get it later on. So here, I think I'm going to go with the damage, projectile knockback, and crit hit chance. There are a couple upgrades I'm going to want to take on this run that do reduce our damage. So getting that damage up early is going to be nice to kind of compensate for what I want to take later. Now, you can see these green drops. These are little health drops, and that is what's coming from our vampirism, which I do have a 2% vampirism drop from meta progression that I've earned so far. Here, let's see, we could go, I think here I'm going to go for gun range before I go for additional projectiles. The range on this hand cannon is kind of small, so I want to get that larger so that way enemies don't get as close to us. Now you can see in the bottom left here, we got this staticky little bar here. That is our drone's ultimate. Now, as that charges, it charges as we pick up experience. And I think it might go up over time. I'm going to be honest, I haven't really been keeping an eye on it just because I've been trying to dodge things. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and take that projectile amount. So you can see here we're going to be losing range. So the fact that we also have upgrades that gain range is going to help us out there. But having more projectiles means more bullets, means more damage. We have our level total at the very top of the screen. Of course, we have our health. The 3 purple lines are our dashes. We have 3 of those. Love to see that. Love dashes in a bullet heaven. And then, of course, we have our ammo. There is manual reload if you're playing on manual aim and manual shooting. However, once you run out of bullets in your gun, it will automatically reload. So you don't really have to manual reload. You just have that option if you want it. Okay, so now that we've survived a certain amount of time, we're going to come over here to this beacon. The 4 beacons are on the map. You can walk up to them, but they just won't do anything unless it specifically says that this is the next objective. We have our timer at the bottom of the screen now, and we just have to survive in this box until that timer's up. I'm going to go ahead and pop our drone's ultimate. That was not the ultimate. That was us leveling up at the exact same time. Now, I could go for the high velocity and get more damage. I might want to go for the magnet strength, though. Initially, your pickup range really isn't that great. You kind of have to, like, walk over stuff to pick stuff up. So, having that extra... The magnet strength itself, overall, is not that powerful, but if you look at the upgrade tree here, you can see that there's different tiers of upgrades, right? So, we've already upgraded the first tier. This is the second tier upgrade we can get. Once we get up to the skull, it's kind of like an ultimate, or not really an evolution, but you can there are other bullets heavens that have had evolutions. It's kind of like that. The magnets is kind of what you would expect as a magnet in other games. It literally attracts things towards you periodically, so you don't have to like go and pick up a magnet, which is a pretty nice one to have, especially since it also picks up all the resources and any health drops that are all along the way. So I think I am actually going to start working on that. Maybe it's a bit early and I should have gone for damage, but we're still killing things pretty consistently. So I don't think that there's much of a concern there. And we do level up fairly quickly here at the beginning. So I kind of just want to make it so that I can grab things a little bit easier. Here I'm going to do the same thing. There's nothing that I'm like crazy to pick up there. So there were a couple upgrades. One was a drone. One was not a drone, but a decoy. That's the other D word I was looking for. That kind of taunts enemies. It's a pretty short duration. This one right here. We also have drone guiding light damage boost, which comes from a meta progression upgrade that I have. Drone grenade slowdown effect here. I think I'm going to take the grenade slowdown effect. So the drone has a couple different attacks. So it has the blue kind of like slow shotgun-ish blast, or shotgun slug, I guess I should say, blast that comes out. It also has a grenade that launches every once in a while. And when it does, you're going to see a blue AoE on the ground. And that AoE, I believe, is going to weaken enemies and make them do a little bit less damage, but it will also slow them over time. So here, I'm going to go ahead and get the additional vampirism chance, just so that way we can drop a few more health orbs. But I'm going to start making my way back to the middle of the map here. No real reason to, other than just where... Okay, so here's that radius. Now, it is a little bit tough to see. I think that there should maybe be a little bit more visual clarification, because it's a pretty light opacity effect. I know it's hard to see now. Once we jump back in, I'm just waiting because the game's paused. Because we have a spotlight over us. Now, when we go over it, this spotlight makes it harder to see, obviously, because this is pretty bright and the area of effect is pretty light transparency, as well as the fact that there's a searchlight over the drone, which we can see the circle here, and it's the same color as the area of effect, so it is a little bit difficult to see. I think that that should be maybe clarified a little bit. Now, we can increase that grenade area, which is actually pretty beneficial. I think I'm just going to take the gun range here, though. And you can see that while enemies are in that area, they are getting a slow debuff. That's what that S is standing for. But eventually, we're gonna want to work. Okay, so I'm gonna pop my ultimate here on the drone here. Typically, I would wait until we are protecting a beacon, but since we got about 50 seconds, I'm okay winding this down. Here, yeah, I'm going to get the grenade area over grenade damage amplification. It also increases the duration of those grenades. There you go. So you can see that I'm in it right now. It is a little bit difficult to see, but like right now I'm on the edge of the area. Just in case that was difficult to see. Let's go ahead. I'm going to get the projectile amount again. I like having odd numbers just because it to me, it feels like it's going to help out our overall range. If we're shooting enemies that are farther away, that it would help to have a bullet kind of in the center of our you know, from where we're shooting from, right? Because then it will go straight as opposed to splitting right down the middle. Here, let's go. I'm actually going to start taking... I'm going to start taking piercing, especially once we get up to larger number of bullets. I think that having piercing is going to be pretty important, especially when it comes to waves of enemies like this. Although, with piercing, I don't feel that I necessarily have to go deep into that tree. I think here... I'm going to take the grenade area. Oh, okay, we got to head down. We got to head to this next beacon. Okay, here I'm going to take the gun range and projectile speed, especially since we just lost a little bit of range. Okay, and we can just stick in this grenade range since it's going to debuff enemies. And just make it a little bit easier for us, obviously. Now, there is a blue square you see around some of the enemies. I think that comes from a meta progression upgrade that I just took before recording this. There is an option to basically allow your drone to... It's like smart AI, basically, is what they call it, where it allows your drone to more closely target enemies, or target enemies that are closer to you. And I think that's just indicating what enemy the drone is actually attacking. Now, you can see here, this is the, like, skull upgrade. So once you see this flare, that's kind of a nice way to implement it. However, we also have this upgrade here, the power chip, which, to me, I'm going to be honest, this seems a little bit overpowered compared to everything else. 5 different upgrades, 30% drone damage, 35% move speed, 25% rate of fire, less reload duration, and more ammo. Seems really, really powerful compared to everything else we're seeing. I'm surprised that this was a reasonable pickup for balancing purposes. I mean, I'm going to take... Actually, you know what? This might seem weird that I'm taking the power chip here, but there is a bit... It's a bit more likely that you get upgrades that you already have in the pool. So I'm going to get this because I want to continue getting it, but there's a very strong chance that I will get this in the future. So I just want to lock in that power chip right now. And I'm going to go ahead and use my ultimate here, try and clear out these guys, get a bunch of experience, and then make our way back to the center of the map. Grenade slowdown. Okay, I'm going to go here with... I think I'm actually going to go with fire rate here. Especially... Okay, now we have our first mini-boss. The first mini-boss... Or actually, this is the only mini-boss on this area. But this mini-boss shows up after you complete 2 beacons. He's not that hard. He just kind of is big and does big damage. So, just kind of stay away from him. Shoot him. He goes down. No big deal. Although, we are kind of moving the opposite direction that I eventually need to go. So, there is that. There we go. Alright, drone ultimate recharge speed. We have another power chip, which I'm likely... Yeah, I'm going to take the power chip here. Now, I do have another meta progression upgrade, which I haven't seen yet on the drone. The drone is supposed to be dropping supply crates, and I have confirmed that it does drop it. I've seen it drop it, but we're just not getting very many of them. And as far as I know, they just drop, like, meta progression. They might drop health as well. I just haven't seen that. Here I'm going to take the... reload duration and mag size. Just that way we have less downtime. Alright, we do have our ultimate up, but I'm going to save that for when we actually activate a beacon, just because we're going to be in a little bit more tight quarter scenario. Although, I do appreciate the fact that the size of the area we need to protect is not actually tiny. In other games, when you have this type of effect... Yeah, see here, we're going to take the fragmentation bullets now. In other bullet-heavy games where you have to protect a certain area, typically that area is going to be quite small. But as you've noticed, I'm assuming... from the past 2 beacons, it's actually a pretty large area, and it's not that tough to stay inside and dodge enemy attacks. You don't feel like you're being, like, constrained a bunch, which some would argue is just kind of playing it on easy mode, but, you know, to each their own. Okay, now we can go ahead and pop that ultimate, start working down some of these enemies. And let's get the last power chip here. That's going to take that out of the pool. We don't have to worry about seeing that again. And, of course, it's also a very powerful upgrade, so I have no reason not to take it. Now, the enemies that we have to be careful about, these red enemies, I'm sure you guys have seen them walking around the map. Very dangerous. They explode when they die, and they do a lot of damage. Now we're going to take the drone grenade damage amplification. And I'm guessing, so I've noticed that there's a W applied to enemies now. I haven't figured out a way to see exactly, because I'm assuming that the S on enemies stands for slow and W for weak. That just kind of seems to make sense to me. I haven't really found a way to confirm that's the case in-game yet. I'm sure it's here, but I just haven't honestly delved that deep yet. But the fact that only now we're starting to apply weak when we just took a upgrade that says damage amplification. Now, if you look at the description down here, I believe when we get that upgrade again, it will say that it now applies a debuff. I'm just surprised that it wouldn't say it in here as well. I would assume that if it, like, this is just kind of a more descriptive way. So, for example, shower projectiles upon your adversaries, but suffer a decrease to your damage output, which is kind of just a narrative way of explaining what this is. But I think the damage amplification on the grenades is slightly different, where this description here tells a little bit different story than what the actual upgrade is. But we'll take a look at that when it pops up again, just to see if that's the case. Here, let's go ahead and take the fire rate. And we'll make our way back to the center of the map again. Definitely want to pick up those blue upgrades whenever we see them. They are a little bit more rare. And we could take the projectile amount, drone grenade count. I think I might actually take the... no, I'm going to take the magnet here. Although, you know, now I always do that. I take things too quickly before I think about them. There's a hit. There's our first hit. Okay, so now we're going to... Yeah, there's one of those big explodey boys that I was talking about. We got to be careful now. Let's take... You know what? I'm going to take this rear guard. I've taken this before and didn't see much of an effect from it. It says reverse bullet level, so I'm assuming that it shoots behind us, but I don't remember seeing that before. Oh, okay, no, it does. It does. Okay, so I must have just not been paying close attention when I took it before. Okay, but I gotta find some of my healing orbs right now. There's a couple here. They don't heal for that much. They only heal for 2. But most enemies deal about 25 damage, is what I found, or I should say exactly 25 damage. So when you start with 100 health, we have a couple health upgrades for meta progression. So your health pool is 4 hits. So this is not a bullet heaven where your health is necessarily a resource where you can kind of use it to tank some damage. You are on a pretty low life count. So here's the damage. So you can see drone grenade damage amplification. Enemies get even more weak in the debuff fields, stacks with other debuffs. So because it says that, damage amplification. Yeah, so it's kind of implying that it already has that debuff. Maybe it already has that effect, and the fact that now it says it has that W debuff, maybe that's implying that it's just a stronger version of the debuff. I'm not exactly sure. That this is not the most clear to me, so if anyone does fully understand this, or maybe has, I don't know if there's actually Discord for this game, but anything like that, if you do, or it's actually damage. Oh, I think I understand, because it's a damage amplification field. So I think what it's implying, but it says more weak. Maybe it means that we do more damage to them rather than they deal less damage to us. If you guys know, let me down below in the comment section. I'm not actually sure about that. I think here we're going to go for more grenade count. The grenades seem pretty powerful, and especially as we're getting more enemies here, I think it's going to be helpful to have more of those. There's that enemy. So the yellow enemies like to charge at us. Now I do have to, again, be pretty careful. Our health is starting to get low. There is a level up upgrade that we can get that does give us a flat 25 heal. We haven't seen it yet, though. Here, I'm going to go with... What do I go with here? Do I just go with recharge speed? I feel like we're pretty late in the game because we only have one more beacon. And what happens is once you activate the 4th beacon, I believe you can't level up anymore. So you can't like just grind out levels before you fight the boss. So that being the case, do I take piercing? I think I'm just going to take, I'm going to take the movement speed, I think. Okay, there's some more health over here. Let's go ahead and pick up this. We also have a couple big experience pods. Okay, I think now I'm going to take the recharge speed. Maybe get one or two, maybe get just like 1 or 2 more ultimates out of it. Got the fire rate, projectile amount. Okay, I'm going to go with fire rate here. There we go. Oh, and here's one of those supply crates. It must have dropped earlier and I didn't see it. So let's go ahead and pop that open and see what we can get. I'm kind of hoping for a health pack. I don't know that if we can actually get those. I have no idea what that is. It's a stim stick. I don't know what the stim... Okay, I was trying to activate the stim stick and it got stuck. That's unfortunate. That is not obviously what we were going for there. All right, so let's go to the hub here. We're obviously going to do another run here. I got a little too ambitious with trying to pick up that stim stick to figure out what exactly it was for. Hang on. We're going to jump back to the main menu. I think there's a bug with the sound here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now in the hub world, I haven't figured out what this guy does. I think he's just here for story purposes. This mansion is quite the sight. What does one have to do to be able to afford a home like this? Over the years, I've dabbled in many professions to try and keep with the times. Really now, what have you enjoyed the most? Tailoring. Well, that was unexpected. Then again, maybe not. You certainly have an eye for beautiful things. Maybe when all this is over, I can give you some pointers. That won't be necessary. How dare you insult my girl, Letifer? Yeah, so I think maybe there's something coming in the future with him. He is basically the owner of this house. He might just be there for story. I'm not exactly sure. Does this just take us to the main menu? No, there's just nothing out here. Okay. I hadn't been out that way before. Now, in here, we have different weapons. I haven't tried the shotgun yet, mostly just because I feel like it's going to be worse. Typically, I don't really play shotguns. This is new. So there is an upgrade here that we eventually can get. It's obviously just not available in the demo. So that's where we upgrade our guns. Over here is where we upgrade Letifer herself. Now, we can talk to this guy. You do kind of want to talk to these guys because over time, they will give you some additional resources. I'm going to kind of go through this here. Obviously, pop it up. So if you want to read it, you can. But otherwise, you can just play the demo yourself. And I'm kind of hoping he's going to give us some more resources. Unfortunate. Okay, so let's go ahead and upgrade here. Now, some of these are going to be locked in the demo. But we have 3,360 of these resources, and obviously we can unlock some stuff. So here I think we're going to unlock the reroll count, because we haven't really been getting a lot of that. And I think I'm also going to unlock luck, which is going to increase the chance that upgrades we already have show up in the tree. Then over here we have our drone updates, which we can do. So if we take a look down here at the bottom, the small searchlight module increases the area of the searchlight. This upgrade will also open up a new run upgrade. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure what this is doing specifically. Then we have the supply drop chance, which we saw a little bit. The AI upgrade, which I believe is what we were seeing before with the blue square around enemies. I think here I'm going to take the drone fire rate, and I'm also going to take the drone movement speed, and then I think that's all I can afford. I think everything else is too expensive for me. We could get crit chance, but 3%, pretty small. Not really into it. All right, let's go ahead and try out another run. Select the biome. Select, we're going to go for the same one, passage for the week, and jump right back in. Yeah, I feel like it was unfortunate. I feel like we had a pretty decent run that first time. I just got a little bit too I was trying to like show off the stim pack, or actually I was trying to figure out what the stim pack was. I was assuming it was health, which is why I was going for it. Probably just shouldn't have been as aggressive going for it. That's my own fault. Because up until that point, we had a pretty decent run. Yeah, so I think the searchlight is obviously the blue area around the drone. I'm just not sure what exactly it's doing. We're obviously going to go with power chip here, just get that drone as powerful as possible. I do really like the drone. I like the addition of having the drone. One thing that I have noticed as I've been improving with this over my course of playing with the game, but I do feel like there is a little bit how do I explain it? I feel like it should maybe be highlighted or something, because when I first started playing, what I noticed was that I was getting slightly confused, because like my eyesight is right now focused on Letifer and basically where her searchlight is. But there were times when, because I'm mostly just looking for movement with my eyesight, let's go with magnet strength, that I was getting confused between the drones and the demons or zombies. I assume they're demons. Which seems a little odd, right? Because we're looking at green, yellow, and red versus a blue floaty drone. But I can't choose what my eyes do. So something to make them stand out a little bit more maybe would be kind of beneficial. I'm going to take the projectile amount again. Just try and get that up to 3. I feel like 3 is kind of the sweet spot. For me, at least. 4 is obviously going to be good, but I'm not going to like rush to 4. 3 is something that I would rush to get. Okay, we have piercing. Yeah, let's take the piercing. All right, we're almost there. I didn't realize I had my ultimate. Let's just pop it now, clear out the rest of these zombies. Or demons, again. I don't know what they are. I'm actually going to take the magnet strength here. I know that's weird to take over the power chip. Power chip just seems like a strict, upgrade over that. But I do want to get up to max magnetism. I think that'll help us level up a bit faster, since it's going to continuously pull in experience for us. And here we're going to go for the... let's go for damage. Although maybe I should have gone for gun range. Since we have piercing, that would help us out, hit more enemies overall. Okay, so now let's go for gun range. Let's get that up. Right? Makes sense. If we have piercing, we want our bolts to go farther so that way it can hit more, If there's not a demon directly behind a demon, we want it to go a little bit farther to hit those enemies. And unfortunately, we're not getting that that magnet upgrade, but we will go for power chip here. We'll get that. Now, in terms of how the demons are actually dealing their damage, this is something that I think is kind of up to preference here, of course. But when our health pool is so low, like enemies deal a pretty large chunk of our health, right? They're doing, roughly 25% of our health, or actually they're just doing 25 damage. Okay, I'm going to take the projectile count here. One thing that I typically like to see with that is some kind of preview of damage happening. Now, typically that comes in the form of the red damage circles on the ground, right? I'm surprised that we don't see that in this game, simply because there is contact damage. And when our health is so taxed, I feel like there should be a little bit of warning before you take damage. That's just kind of a preference for me, and that's definitely not a game-breaking thing, just kind of an observation here. I'm not going to take the piercing. We're pretty good on piercing. I think I'm just going to take the reload duration and mag size here. Again, just make it so that we can fire off our bullets a little bit more consistently. And let's go for more gun range, projectile speed, fire rate. Ah, here we go. Magnet wave. Nice. So now we don't have to worry quite as much about picking up all the experience. Now, I don't actually know... Okay, that's my bad. Got stuck in a rock. I don't actually know how big the magnet range is. I don't think it's the full map. It's probably a medium-sized radius around us. Let's go for the damage amplification on that grenade. Okay, be wary of the red boys. Be wary of the red boys. Oh. Hey, I didn't realize that this was here, so if you hit tab, you get your stats. Yeah, so we can look at everything we have. I didn't know that was there. I was trying to hit Q and my finger slipped and hit tab. Okay, well, you have that there. Let's go for the gun range. Pick up some more health along the way, get our health up as much as possible. Yeah, let's get another level of this damage amp field. Let's see, so if I hit this guy... Yeah, okay, so it is increasing the damage that we deal. Unless I was getting crits, but I noticed that there was one zombie that was taking about 72 damage, and then there were other zombies that were taking 36. So I think that's what's going on. Although it just said 50%, and that's 100%. So maybe I don't know. Okay, let's go ahead and take the rear guard here. Especially with piercing, just going to help us take care of more zombies more efficiently. Stay away from the red boys. We don't like the red boys. Nice little magnet. Love it. Let's take... Yeah, let's take the damage. Whoa, what was that? That was new. Okay, let's go ahead and pop our ult. Worry about the red boys. Let's go for... Yeah, let's just get this damage amp as high as possible. Then we also don't have to worry about it anymore. Ow. Okay, I'm going to get the decoy dummy now, I think. Get a little bit of taunt going. Help protect us a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for more damage. Although our damage is pretty good, I also got to worry about our reload speed. Our reload speed is pretty slow. That was a very clutch level up there. Okay, let's take these fragmenting bullets. And then make our way. We can actually make our way. Oh my goodness, that was close. Okay. If we can find it, I would like to get my vampirism up as well. So that would be an upgrade that I would pretty heavily prioritize right now. And now we can just make our way down to the last beacon since we know that there's only one left. Just make it a little bit easier on ourselves. As soon as that timer ends, we can just pop it, hit this, and then run and try and fight the boss. Okay, we're getting a little bit surrounded here. That's a little sketch. We've got another minute. I'm going to go ahead and pop the drone alt. That way we have enough time to recharge it again for the next beacon. Okay, let's get the slowdown effect. I also want to get an additional grenade, or the, you know, reduced cooldown on the grenade, if we can get that as well. Grenade size would also be really beneficial. There we go. Grenade area. Let's grab that. Yeah, especially mixed with the decoy. If the decoy gets pulled in the middle of that grenade area, oh boy, they're gonna die very quickly. Yep, let's get more area. Make that just as big as possible. Reload duration, definitely need that. Need a little bit of help there since we've gotten so many. Where are we at right now? Oh, we're only at negative 10%, so that's actually not too bad. I thought we were a bit lower than that. Careful of the red boys. Pop that ult. Okay, here, let's go for the grenade count. Now, most of the reason I want the grenade count here, especially since we're getting closer to the end. Oh, you know what I just realized? Okay, so I take back, so I'm going to take back a bit. Hang on, I'm going to pause for a second so I can talk and not die. I'm going to take back a bit of what I said before about the boss fight. So, before I said that when you jump into a boss fight, the leveling basically stops. I didn't realize before that I had hit the level cap. So that is why you couldn't level up anymore. So 30 is the level cap. And yeah, so basically there likely is time that you can go ahead and grind once you get all the beacons lit, but obviously there's no reason for us to do that now since we've hit level cap. So we go ahead and pop this. The Archdemon, the Defiled King, pops in, and now we just have to beat him. We just got to dodge his projectiles. And demons are still going to be spawning, so it's not just us versus the boss. We also have to be dodging these little boys around here. Now, hopefully we can... Okay, dodge that. Nice. Are we going to build up to another ultimate? Would like another drone ult, although I don't think we need it because I think he's going to go down right about now. There we go. Archdemon defeated. Down he goes. Yeah, we had a lot of damage there. And ritual completed. So there we go. That is this ritual done. Obviously, this isn't the map done, right? Because there's a couple different difficulties there. 10:30. Not too bad. Not too bad. And we got a bunch of stuff here, so we can go back to the hub and talk a little bit about what we think about Letifer. Letifer is pretty cool. I mean, as far as the game goes, I think that it's doing a few things that are slightly different. It's kind of taking pieces and parts from everything, right? I don't think that there's necessarily, as far as I found so far in the game, right? I've only completed the first ritual, which, spoiler, I completed it before this one. But it's just a fun take on the bullet heaven. I think that what's going to be interesting about this game that's going to kind of make it so that it's doing its own thing is the story. If you're someone who likes a little bit more story driven roguelite, I think that this one might be kind of taking it slightly in a different turn than some other bullet heavens, because ultimately, I mean, are we doing anything groundbreakingly different in this game? No, I don't think so. For the most part, it's kind of the same systems we've seen. You get your weapons, you can upgrade things like attack speed, damage, range. The drone is pretty cool. I've only really seen that aspect in one other bullet heaven, Nimrod's, and that had kind of a slightly different implementation of how the drone worked. This drone is obviously a little bit more of an not auto battler, but it fights on its own system, which is the same thing in Nimrod's. The difference there in Nimrod's is that it gets to use the last gun that you used, or whatever gun you want it to, based on your previous runs. In this game, obviously, you have the ultimate. I do kind of wish that Letifer herself had an ultimate, and maybe that comes later in the game. But being a half human, and especially a half demon, I would expect her to have some kind of other supernatural style power. As far as right now, in terms of the supernatural element, there's not, I don't really notice a lot. Maybe it's there, but it doesn't feel as ingrained in that element. Obviously, we're fighting demons, right? I'm not oblivious to the fact that there are supernatural elements here, but I would just want to lean into that a little bit more. And maybe in the future, you know, as for weapon unlocks, maybe you have a more like melee based weapon where she kind of digs deeper into that demon aspect. You know, kind of like if you look at a character like, this is a kind of rough example here, but if you look at a character like Hellboy, right? Hellboy is a character who is obviously a full-on demon, but he has human characteristics, and he does mostly use guns, but he does have some like superhuman agility to him. He obviously has his big rock or stone fist, so he does have some supernatural elements to him. Although if you watch the Hellboy movies, I haven't read the Hellboy comics, so I'm going off the movies here. Most of his combat style is more humanoid, but he obviously has a little bit more durability to him. He obviously has more speed, especially if you watch the battle with the prince in Hellboy 2. So there's a little bit of that duality there that I would kind of like to see a little bit more of with Letifer. That could be kind of interesting to dig deeper into. Maybe she has her own ultimate that allows her to kind of, I don't know, maybe use her health as more of a resource to increase her damage, or she just turns, maybe she kind of expands her power into turning into a more demon form. There is a bit of a story cutscene before the game begins where her mother was a human, her father was full demon, and she's kind of going on a vengeance path because of what happened with something with her father. I will let you guys figure that out for yourself, what's going on. So maybe she has some elements from her father that could be interesting. And again, these features might be expanded on further on. I'm just kind of explaining based on the gameplay that we've seen here what I would like to see further. I think the upgrade system is pretty straightforward. It's pretty cookie cutter for what we've seen for these bullet heaven games. It's pretty kind of on the nose to everything else we see, you know, pretty standard upgrades. I think the fact that you can upgrade your drone, again, is kind of a nice feature. Some additional features there to help you out. I would almost like to see some additional drones, and again, maybe this comes later, but with this version of the drone, you kind of have a debuff version. Maybe there's a more like strictly offensive drone. Maybe there's a more defensive drone that drops like med packs, stuff like that. I don't know. That would kind of be cool to see. But overall, you know, I had fun with the game. I don't think there was anything that was really deterring me. I think the big thing, I think my one kind of negative takeaway was the fact that with our health, not even that our health was low, right? Because health is just a percentage of the damage you're being dealt. Hold on one second here. We're gonna pause this for a second, and I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that interruption, guys. Had someone coming who's looking to check out the apartment as a potential roommate, so I had to go give him a tour. But unfortunately, I forgot where my train of thought was, so I've been talking enough anyway, so let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you everyone so much for checking out this video. If you had fun, would you kindly smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to check out the game for yourself, of course, demo will be, or link to the Steam page will be below in the description as always. But guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Ganyonz, and I'll see you all in the next one.